I've been learning about how hard this head is, y'all. This head is hard. It's big, and that's already frustrating enough, but it's like, dang, I am so hard headed. It really got down to me having a conversation with God, and He was like, you don't know how to just be. And I was like, I am being. What do you mean? I'm alive. And the Lord was like, no, you don't know how to just be. Like if you knew who created you, you knew who loved you, you knew who, is the orchestrator of your life, you knew who was behind the scenes being strategic over everything concerning you, you wouldn't live the way that you do. Hello, everyone. If you can hear the sound of my voice, that means that you are tuned into. Wait a second. Wait a second. Okay. Because some things didn't change around here. If you've made it this far, you may have noticed somewhere along the trail that there is indeed a new name. There is indeed a new identity. There's been a change. There's been a transformation, if you will. So, I'm about to get ready to introduce us by our new name, because it's me and you, okay? If you can hear the sound of my voice, that means that you are tuned into Almost Understood. And I am your girl, your friend, whatever you want to call me, Jordan Alexa. Hey, y'all. I know it's been a minute. I did not plan to disappear, but disappear definitely had a plan for me because by golly, my God, what a year it has been. It has basically almost been a year. I think the last time I saw you guys might have been in March, April, February. I don't know, but it's been a minute. Several seasons have changed. Several seasons have gone by physically and spiritually. And I just want to say before I even get into it all, I'm not the same person that y'all saw when we last talked. But we'll talk about all that, okay? First, this new name. So the new name came about because all right, you guys know, for those of you guys who've been with me since the very beginning, since the beginning, you know that this podcast has been a point of, I don't want to say struggle, but it's just been a point of wrestle for me, because you guys know this is my third podcast altogether. Shoot, I didn't change the name. You want to make it a fourth? No, it's not the fourth. It's the same podcast. We just got a new name. That's it. Went from Jacob to Israel. That's all. When I started kind of like I had an unction, I had an inkling, I had a feeling. That's how I started when I started the podcast the first time. But, this time around, I was like, I can't shake this feeling. I believe that this is something that I'm supposed to do, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But when I started it kind of with failure in mind. The name actually was attached to somebody else as well. And I never pictured anybody ever listening to the podcast. Boy, was the joke on me. And so as I considered stepping away from podcasting altogether, because just with the year that I've had, with the year that everybody's had, I want everybody to be quiet. I want everybody to stop talking. I want everybody to be quiet. I want everybody to sit down. I want everybody to put their microphones down. I want everybody to put their phones down. I want everybody to put the cameras down. I want everybody to stop, including me. Right? but I couldn't make everybody do that. So I just did that myself. So I considered walking away from podcasting altogether. And, of course, through going through everything I went through, going through prayer and, oh, my fingers got caught in my hair. Going through prayer and, everything that I went through, I realized, okay, this is something I'm going to do. This is something I'm going to take seriously because people are taking it seriously, if that makes any sense. And so when I got to the root of why was I doing what I was doing in the first place, I realized that the heart in which I started it in was wrong. The mindset in which I started it in was wrong. And so thus I was led to change the name, and here we are. So just an explanation of the name before we move forward. All Misunderstood is basically a position that I have held most of my life with most people. I've lived a good portion of my life where people, say you're weird or you're different or whatever. And so I spent a good amount of my life feeling misunderstood. And it also led to a little bit of living my life through a blurry lens, a little bit of bitterness, just a little bit. I got to a point where it's just like, who cares? Who cares if people misunderstand me? Who cares if people don't understand, my mindset, what it is that I have going on or whatever. And I settled on the fact that I'll just live my life knowing that I'm almost understood. Because I don't know, I feel like living from, of course you can accept you being misunderstood, but living through knowing that people misunderstand you, it kind of puts you on the defense. But if you change it to almost understood, I don't know, something about that just is like, you know what? They just don't get it. And that's okay. So there's that. Is this the simple fact that I am 31 years old, and as I have lived this life, I have realized that I can understand the things of life. I can understand what life does, but I cannot understand life. I know that life is going to have its ups and downs. I know that in life I'm going to learn. I know that in life I'm going to grow. I'm going to be stretched. I'll experience struggle. I'll experience loss. I'll experience joy. I'll experience, great things. I'll experience being abased and being abound. But I don't understand. So I almost understand life. And then the last part is that even though there are billions of people in the world, and when we narrow things down to the basic human experience, or just basic, just being a human, we may not understand each other. We may not agree with each other, but at the very least, we can relate on the fact that we are human and we are living this human experience. We can relate on feeling certain emotions, going through certain things, and that's it. And thus we all exist in being almost understood. And so that is why we have landed here today with our name change. It's not a rebrand. It's not a new podcast. I'm still very much me. If you haven't been able to tell, still very much little off the hinges, just a little bit. The door swings open and closed. I'm still functioning, but I have changed a little bit, and I guess we could get into that because the last time you saw me, I was frazzled, stressed. I was going through it. I was dying, and I don't want to say actually, but actually I might have been, looking back, I might have been getting ready to just, or have something was getting ready to happen. The last time you guys saw me, number one, things didn't look like this, right? And so thus I am in a different situation. To be completely honest, I am in the basement of somebody else's home, making the best of it. And so, like I said, last time you guys saw me, I was frazzled because I was stressed, I was anxious, and trying to keep things together, trying to establish things, me and my husband doing everything seemingly the right way, trying to avoid certain things from happening, trying to avoid being in somebody's basement, trying to avoid, just a whole bunch of stuff, right? And over time, maybe we could talk in detail about it, but it's a lot. And so it got to a point where I may have mentioned this in the last episode. I'm not sure. Maybe. But it got to a point where I was experiencing, chest pains and heart palpitations, and my face actually started twitching. Like my eyes started twitching. And I literally had to look it up because I was just like, at first, I just thought it was a thing. They say when your eye twitches, you're experiencing some sort of stress, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it started happening quicker, like every 5 minutes. Then it started happening like every 2 minutes. Then it started happening like every 30 seconds. And it got to a point where my face would twitch and then it would just stop. But it wasn't stopping like back in my normal face structure. It was stopping like in like a spasm, and it was doing like this, right? So I looked it up, and I mean, that you look up stuff on Google, you dead. But I looked it up on Google, and it said that when stuff like that happens to people, it's early signs of like forming like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's one of the palsies. I don't know if it's Bell's palsy, but it's triggered by stress. And so people end up losing the function of that side of their face because of stress or whatever. And then with the whole thing with the chest pains, I kept seeing articles about people in their late 20s, early 30s about having heart attacks. And they weren't, seemingly doing anything crazy, but their mind was ate up. And so they were stressed. They were stressed and they were having these heart attacks, while doing nothing, while sitting in the house doing nothing. And I literally had to be like, now wait a second. You're stressed and you're trying to help keep all these things together, help all these things stay tied together, prevent things from falling apart. And you're about to die. And I know I said I didn't want to be drastic and say that I was about to die, but I don't know. Maybe I was. And it literally got to a point where my husband and I, we dropped everything. We dropped everything and we moved into my in-laws' house, and we were only supposed to be there for a month. We were only supposed to be there for a month, save our money up, because at the time we were looking for a house. And we were supposed to be there for a month. We'll be here for a month because I'm still here. And, we had this plan, whatever, blah, blah, and we got here and the Lord was like, sit down. Seriously, like the Lord was like, you need to sit down. And when I tell you, that is one of the most hardest things I've had to do in my life, was to just sit down, because growing up, I earned my keep by being responsible. I had the task of having many responsibilities early. I had a mom who was, had a chronic illness, and my sister and her kids lived in the house. And it was a dog. Hello. Not to mention school and all the other things. And so there was just a lot of responsibility that I had often. I was considered a leader at school. And so responsibility became my way of earning my keep. Like, it didn't make any sense for me to not have any responsibility. And it got to a point where the Lord he said, sit down. Like, you need to sit down. And so I actually wasn't completely obedient at first. Listened a little bit. It started off by me saying, okay, I'm going to exercise. And so I started exercising. I said, okay, I'm going to start, I started looking up different things concerning like the mind and what vitamins I should be taking. So I started taking certain vitamins, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it actually changed the whole eye twitch thing. It changed the heart palpitations thing. I handle stress completely differently now, but I didn't go down easy. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not go down easy. A lot of people be looking at me crazy because when the Lord tells me stuff, I am a questioner. I am. Somebody told me recently, they said, Jordan, that's scary because I was telling them about how the Lord told me to do something. I was like, all right, like my heart isn't always so. And listen, I know that people, and maybe people are, and I just don't know. But I be feeling like people be lying anyway. When people like the Lord told them to do something, they were just like, okay, God. To me, I don't know. It just always comes with a wrestle for me. Which let's hold on, let's stop. Prayerfully it won't anymore. Cause like I said, I'm not the same girl. Okay. If the Lord told me to do something right, now, what time? 5 minutes? Now? I'm getting up and I'm doing it. Because I feel like I've learned my lesson. But I think for so long, my life has been met with, disappointments. Been met with, because a lot of times when, they be like, the Lord told me to do this, and you do that, and it's not necessarily met with an outcome that you think it should be met with. You get upset, but then that goes to question your obedience to God to begin with. Why were you obedient? Is it obedience if you have an outcome in mind? Now wait a second. Is it obedience if you already have an outcome in mind, or is it only obedience if you go in blindly, if you go by faith and not by sight? I don't know. I'm gonna have to pray about that one. It's obedience if you have an outcome. Anyways, but yeah, I've always been a wrestler. And so it really got down to me having a conversation with God. And he was like, you don't know how to just be. And I was like, I am being. What do you mean? I'm alive. Like, I'm being stressed. I'm being pressed. I'm being. And the Lord was like, no, you don't know how to just be. Like, if you knew who created you, you knew who loved you, you knew who, is the orchestrator of your life, you knew who was behind the scenes being strategic over everything concerning you, you wouldn't live the way that you do. And I was like, dang, I wouldn't. So I don't know how to just be. And so that's where I've been. I've been being. I've been behind the scenes being. I've been learning about how hard this head is, y'all. This head is hard. It's big, and that's already frustrated enough, but it's like, dang, I am so hard-headed. I've been getting past that. I've been overcoming like a lot of, traumas and fears and all types of stuff. This has been a year of low lows. Like, I've been low. Like, there was a point in time where I was just crying every single day. I didn't know what's going on. I would literally wake up out of my sleep and just start crying. But also, this has been a year of high highs. Like, this has been a year that I've been the most creative. This has been the year where I've had the most creative opportunities. This has been the year where stuff has just come to me, and it's like, huh? Lord, what? I think the Lord's being very strategic and letting me know, you don't run none of this. Like, that's what he's been doing this whole time. The low lows have shown me that my efforts mean absolutely nothing. Now, granted, the Lord can tell me to do something and I put my effort there. Yeah, but that's a matter of heaven meeting earth. Because if something is in the intangible, if something is in the invisible realm, in the spiritual realm, then something has to take place for it to be brought into the physical realm, right? So in that sense, yeah. But everything else, trash. Your efforts are doo-doo. Sorry. Not sorry for saying that. Sorry for saying doo doo. I apologize. But at the same time, with the high highs, things have been happening that make no sense. Opportunities, I've been getting opportunities that make no sense. And it's because the Lord literally wants me to know, like, you are not the captain of this ship. I run this. Wow, that's what the whole thing has been about. I know I said that I've been going through it and I've been learning stuff and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that was the peanut butter sticking to the jelly. What the heck? Also, if you hear the chair, I don't know if you hear this. If you can't hear this, this will be edited out of the video. But if you can hear this, just know that it was in fact the chair and not my bodily orchestra. Okay? So, like I said, I've spent a lot of this year with high highs and low lows, but I've spent a lot of this year feeling like a failure. I spent a lot of this year feeling like a failure. Because in all my efforts, in all my doing things the right way, mind you, I'm not some crazy lady. Wait, just a little bit. But I'm not some person with these wild ideas doing these wild things. In my mind, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything correctly, right? But one thing that I've learned is that just because you do everything right doesn't mean that it has a right to go your way, right? Because every single thing, and I'm not exaggerating, every single thing that I was trying to avoid happened. Every single thing that I was trying to stop from happening did in fact happen. And I'm still alive. I'm sitting here as evidence today that I am still very much alive. I'm still okay. And it's crazy because just thinking back on like my mindset before everything happened, I don't know how I was functioning that way for so long. I don't know how I was living that way for so long. Jesus. But I'm still alive by the grace of God. It's so interesting because I had to, the same way I had to overcome things that I put on myself, I had to overcome things that people were putting on me too. I had to overcome titles that people put on me. I had to overcome being called. It's so crazy because there are things, it's like there are things that are seemingly positive that people say about us that is not inherently bad, but when you anchor your identity in it, it's bad. And then there are things that people say about us that aren't good. And they drag us down because you're trying so hard to avoid them, right? And so people told me, and they still say it, but I let it roll off my back. I've been called strong my whole life. And I'm not strong because I want to be. I'm strong because, man, life made me be that way, you know? And I'm in the process of going through stuff, in the process of the Lord literally chiseling at me like a statue with a chisel and a hammer, and ain't nothing breaking off because I'm so strong. I can't let this happen. I'm strong. Like I'm trying to actually prevent things from happening, or I'm actively avoiding things, coming to the forefront in my heart and in my mind and dealing with things because I'm strong. I'm actively avoiding feeling certain emotions or, going to certain places in my mind because I'm strong. But it's like, girl, you're strong, but what you think strength is not, and it's not strength. People said I was strong. People said I had so much joy. That's my freaking nickname. My nickname is Joy. And I'm that person that's I'm gonna crack a joke regardless. Like, even if I'm boo-hoo crying, I'm going to slip one in because, by golly, in a way, everything is funny. Everything isn't funny, but something about everything is funny. It just is. Um, but, you know, at some point, having that title, it put me in a prison. It put me in a prison, and it stopped me from being able to express myself in certain ways, and it stopped me from being able to um, show up in situations show up in situations, be able to communicate properly, because I'm trying to maintain a certain atmosphere where, you know what, girl, that's not your responsibility. For so long, you're the one who entertains, you're the one who, you know, whatever, but it's different when it happens naturally versus you assuming the responsibility of it. Even with expressing, people are like, you're so understanding. I had to let that go too, because I was being so understanding to a point where, now don't get me wrong, I'm going to tell the truth. Now, I'm going to always be honest. I'm going to also always say how I feel, but to a point, right? But I was getting to be so understanding that it was becoming a hindrance to me. Sometimes you could be so understanding that you rob yourself of processing. Sometimes you could be so understanding that you won't hold people accountable for things that they need to be held accountable for. Right? And so I had to shake those titles. And when I tell you, I think this has been one of my most honest years. And for people who know me, they're probably like, well, dang. But no, I think that this has been one of my most honest years. I've had conversations that I probably never would have had over the past few years. Because I don't shy away from conversation, but once again, being understanding when it comes to process, and you talking about how you feel, I'm like, all right, just rattle it off. Because for so long, I'm just the person to be like, all right, I'm sorry. How do I fix it? And that's not real communication. That's not real relationship, right? So also this year, I've a lot of relationships. I don't want to say a lot of relationships have been lost. A few have. A few have been redefined. A few have been reshaped. Because I'm really at the point where it's just like, man, if you don't understand, it's okay. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but also in this situation, I have a grandson. How do you have a grandson? You don't have any children. He's a dog. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. I have a grand dog. But yeah, I had to shake the titles. I have to, if we're continuing on the thing of being, understood, I've been called all types of things in the book because people don't understand what I'm doing. People don't understand the life that I'm building. I've been called lazy. I've been called spoiled. I've been called dumb. I've been called, I've been told that I'm lacking wisdom, that I'm not doing things in wisdom. But man, if they knew what I was doing behind the scenes to literally not try to live up to their words, and God is literally holding me back like this. Like, imagine me making my best efforts and I'm running full speed. I'm giving it all I got, and God is just like this. Right? But I had to shake that. I had to let it go. Literally had to let it go now, to the point where it's just like, whatever it takes, Lord. You said it, and it is what it is, and I'm going to do it, and that's what it's going to be. And that's it, So it's just been a year of shedding. It's been a year of becoming. It's been a year of being. And by the grace of God, I am still alive. It's so interesting when you go through times like this, because you realize how much of your life is actually performance. I think so often we claim to experience the things that we experience or do the things that we do because of purpose or because of passion, but it's really performance. Like, if you really sit back and evaluate your life and evaluate the things that you do and evaluate why you do them, you'll find out that a lot of things out, y'all might be different from me. Y'all might be better than me. Y'all might be learning more quicker than me. Y'all might not be dealing with some of the stuff that I'm dealing with. So I'll say me. I had to examine my life and realize that a lot of the things that I was doing was from a performance standpoint. It wasn't because of me. It wasn't because it was under the guise of, why is he running up and down the steps like this? What do you have going on? It was under the guise of purpose. It was under the guise of working hard, but it was performance. And he crying. Nicholas? Hey, I think Wes is trying to get into the room with you, and he's literally running up and down the steps over and over and crying at the door. That's right. Grandma gonna handle it. Grandma gonna make sure her grandbaby all right. Yes, life, performance. Um, so much of the stuff that we do is for performance. So much of the stuff that we do is so that people won't have the opportunity to say something about us, so that people won't think about us a certain way, or because we think that people do think about us a certain way. But can I inform you that the very things that you think that people are saying about you, unless they said it themselves, because like I said, I have experienced that too, but a lot of things that you may be thinking that people are saying about you is in fact not real. It's something that is probably replaying in your mind. It is a mirage of something that may have taken place in your past, and it is disguising itself as a reality that actually does not exist. It doesn't exist. And so you're so busy performing to be this thing, to be this person up against this standard that doesn't exist for you. There's a freedom that comes with finally deciding that you're going to live your life for yourself. I mean, and for the Lord, of course, in my case. But you're not living your life for anybody else except for you and your maker. That's it. You know, there's so much freedom. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fear in it too. There's a lot of fear in choosing to shake the reality that you've built in your mind. There's a lot of fear in, woo, we are so delusional. We are so delusional. We are so delusional. We've made up not only worlds of delusion in our minds, but we've made up worlds of delusion as to who we actually are, who it is that we are being, who it is that we think we are. And if we would walk in the freedom of just choosing to live life for yourself and embrace the fear of the same thing, then you have the opportunity to tear all those things down, because a lot of those things were built for protection. A lot of those things are built because of things that you've experienced. A lot of those things were built because you thought you had to approach the world in some way, shape, or form. That's like, even look at this podcast to begin with. Actually was about, considering things that society says about certain topics and just talking about how it's not necessarily true. Considering another perspective. Who cares, man? Who cares? Like, I already don't care, or I already didn't care what society said. But even with that, it was so outwardly focused. I'm so inwardly focused, man. I'm so inwardly focused these days. And when you're inwardly focused, It helps you to focus on things that matter, you know? And I'm not even talking about being selfish, because even the other day I was sitting in the house and I asked my husband, I said, do you think that we should go like volunteer? Like we should go do like food drive, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, we can. And he was like, but what made you say that all of a sudden? Because when you're so inwardly focused and you become settled within yourself and you're it's hard to explain. I don't even know how to explain it. But I I have become a person that is if I say this, y'all don't judge me. Not saying that I didn't used to be, but at the same time, who knows? I've become a person who is, my introspection has made me a person who is very considerate. Like being able to journey through my own process and journey through the things that I've gone through on my own has made me very considerate of the fact that everybody else is just going through something too. I go to the grocery store and somebody is rude to me. They could be a rude person, but what made them that rude person, right? So it's like I have the opportunity to pay it back to them, but then I also have the opportunity to be something different than what it is that they're used to. Somebody may approach you in a certain way because they're just assuming that you're going to be a certain way because they've only been treated a certain way in their life, right? I hope that makes sense. But me being so introspective and me going through the journey on my own has helped me humanize other people. And it's helped me to realize that life is happening to everybody. Life is happening to everybody. And so stop living in delusion. Stop living in this world that you made up on your own for your own self. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm rambling, but it is what it is. But all in all, this is just an episode to let y'all know that I'm here. I'm still here. I'm still alive. And I ain't going nowhere. That's also what I have resorted with that myself. I have let life try to count me out to the point where I just started counting myself out. You know, the devil ain't even had to fight me no more. I was punching myself. But now, we about to throw them. I done woke up and I used to like to fight. People who know me know that about me. I used to like to fight. And so now I'm just fighting different. I was about to say I don't fight fair, but I never remembered. I used to black out. But that's like neither hither nor thither. People look at me and be like, Jordan, there's no way you used to be like that. It was. What you see is the redeeming power of Jesus Christ. All that to say that I am a new creature. And that's all this life is about. Constantly pursuing the newness of you all the time. Because you're always going to be in a cycle. You're always going to, even when you discover that new thing, it'll last for a season. And then at some point, it'll be time to throw it away. You know? And it goes back to the whole concept of you can understand life, but you're only going to understand it up to a point. You got it almost understood, and that's it. Yeah, that's been what's going on with me, guys. Been getting beat up in the spirit, in the physical, and I'm happy about it. I'm so glad that I've taken this time to learn. I'm so glad that I've taken this time to overcome. I'm so glad that during this time that God has revealed, the parts of me that I withheld him from healing. And that's another thing, guys. Sometimes we really do hide parts of ourselves. What we think we do, we hide parts of ourselves from God, in the name of pride, in the name of maintaining whatever in our minds. But it's really imperative that you let go and let God. It's a cliche, but it's true. Let go and let God heal you. Let go and let God reveal the things to you that Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to know, understand. Um, that's like me. I am a recovering busybody. I'm a recovering person who is doing things to look productive, to be productive, not for the sake of actually being productive, but for the sake of, number one, I've lived a good portion of my life having not felt seen. I've lived a good portion of my life having not felt seen. Like I said earlier, responsibility was how I earned my keep. When I said earn my keep, is how I got good jobs. It's how I got, I'm proud of you. It's how I got, whatever. Because in any other scenario, nobody ever really paid attention, And so a lot of times I had to go above and beyond just to get a wink, just to get a head pat. And so I've lived a good portion of my life having not felt seen. And thank God I serve a God who sees. For so long I felt like God didn't see me. And that's not true. He's a big God. He sees everything. But I've lived my life feeling like not seen. God doesn't see me. And so I overproduce. I over, not anymore. There's so many things that I had, like even now as it stands, like my business, the community that I run within my business, and this, like, it took so much narrowing down to this is what you need to focus on. Everything else, great, but you're overproducing because you feel like that's how you earn your worth. And if anything that you guys get out of this, know that your worth is not in anything that you do. No, your worth is not anything that you can produce. No, your worth is not even in anything that you could give anybody. There is somebody who sees your worth simply because you exist. Simply because you were made by his hands. Simply because you were formed by him. And that is priceless. And so now I live my life from that truth. I'm so happy that everything fell apart. I'm so happy that things didn't go according to plan, because every time I think about it, if everything that I was working for happened the way I expected it to happen, I don't know how I would have made it. I don't know. So we thank God that his plan is sovereign. We thank God that he knows more than we do. And I think I'll end it here, because I'm back, and I'm back for good. So we'll have plenty more to talk about from here on out. I missed you guys so much, but I'm back. I'm better than ever. And just wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on. Yeah. But that's it. That's all. I love y'all so much. But yes, I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad that we are back with each other. You see me, I see you, we see each other. Okay? You can't get rid of me. Can't get rid of me. Can't get rid of me now. Anyways, I love you so much. I'll see you next time. This is Almost Understood.